When looking at access around the school grounds, there are a few things that we take into consideration. Firstly, maps and signage. Does your school have a map that indicates where the accessible facilities are located, such as your lifts, bathroom, car parks, and accessible routes? With respect to drop-off and pick-up, is there a clear and continuous accessible path for students that travel from either public transport or car parks to major key entry points around the school? Looking at the stairs and lifts, do the stairs have continuous handrails? And if so, what side are they located on? Is there adequate space within the lift to allow a student using a mobility device to enter and turn around to access the lift control panel? And is this lift control panel accessible by the student? When we look at the pathways around the school, it's important to consider, are the paths wide enough to enable a student using a mobility device to walk beside someone or allow someone to pass by? What the quality of the pathway is like, so are there cracks within the path? Is it a level surface? Do the pathways have slopes? And if so, what is the incline? Will a student using a mobility device be able to independently manage this, or will they require some assistance? Looking at more specific facilities such as the tuck shop or administration building, it is important to consider whether there's an accessible pathway towards them, and if there is, are the facilities inside accessible? So can students look over the administration desk, or within the tuck shop, are they able to independently grab food and drink? So the next important thing to consider is access within the rooms. So firstly, doors, when applicable, are doors able to be opened independently by the student? So considering whether the student can reach the door handle, can they successfully use that door handle, and can they manage the way to the door? In terms of level access into the room, does the student have level access into their class, or is there a ramp provided to assist with this? And then when inside the room, does the student have adequate space to navigate their mobility device around with ease? Can the student use the equipment provided to them, such as their desk, fitting their mobility device under it, or are they provided an adjustable desk to help with this? And then just the facilities within the classroom, so looking at things such as sinks, cupboards and storage, can the student access these with their mobility device? When looking at the bathrooms, there's a few things to consider. So firstly, are there sufficient accessible bathrooms located near the student so that they don't have to travel long distances? And then once they get to the bathroom, can they access the bathroom? So is the door accessible? Can they reach the door handles? Can they use the door handle? Can they manage the way to the door? Once inside the bathroom, is there sufficient circulation space so that they can enter and turn around using their mobility device? And then is there enough space for them to accommodate for transfers? So can they transfer both left and right, or is there a specific side that they have to transfer from? And then also within the bathroom, just looking at the equipment and facilities, are they located at appropriate heights? So the grab rails, taps, mirrors, hand dryers, are these all accessible by the student who's in their mobility device? And then the last thing to consider is, does the bathroom have a secure place for the student to store their continence supplies if they need to? In terms of emergency procedures and processes, things to consider is whether your school has an evacuation plan that includes provisions for people with disability. So does this take into account students that may be located on a second floor and are unable to use the lift? Is the meeting area accessible, and can this be accessed via a suitable path? Are there designated staff who are trained to support evacuation of people with disability? And then when a new student or staff member joins the school, is there a process for orientating them around the school grounds and discussing evacuation procedures? Finally, there's a few things to consider for students with mobility devices. So firstly, we want students to mobilise at an appropriate speed, so they're expected to travel at a similar speed to their peers. They safely use their mobility device around peers, so they don't use it to run into anyone. In terms of receiving assistance, are students able to advocate for themselves? Otherwise, staff members can collaboratively work with the student and their family to come up with an appropriate plan. So this may include nominating particular people to help the student with their mobility device. And if other students are assisting, it may be suitable to make their parents, carers, guardians aware that they are helping out.